This video is brought to you by OneXBet. OneXBet allows you to bet on all sporting events around the world. Register with OneXBet for free and win up to $130 in bonuses on your first cash deposit. Use my promo code as podcast to register and win extra bonuses up to $130. Yes, it is that simple. Join OneXBet so that you do not regret. Click the link in the comment section to sign up now. Bet responsibly. Gambling not allowed to persons under the age of 18. Enjoy the video. Right then, lads, welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. You know what time it is? It is time for your predicted lineup. It is time for Arsenal starting lineup. It's time for your team news, and it's also time for looking at the opposition, Brighton. Arsenal take on Brighton tomorrow, Saturday. It will be 5 p.m. kickoff. Vital game, important game. I think I say this all the time when we're playing any other side. That's a very vital game. That's a very, very important game. But indeed, guys, this one is a very, very important game. Arsenal need to bounce back. We lost our recent game against Crystal Palace away from home, and we lost that game miserably. And it's been a very, very bad week because Arsenal have actually suffered two injury blows that could actually be out, two players very important that could actually be out for the rest of the season. And that what means is Arsenal now need to go to squad players who are actually not as good as those players that we are actually replacing. I don't think Lokonga is as good as Partey, and I don't think Tavares is as good as Kieran Tierney. But how could Arsenal line up against Brighton? Should we change our formation? That's the question. Should Mikel Arteta change tactics? Should we change the formation, or should we stick with the same plan and just replace the players? That is the question I'm going to ask you. And one huge question, should Alexander Lacazette be given another chance to start in this game, despite the fact that since December, this lad has been as dry as possible. He's not scored a goal in open play since December. He's scored 2 goals this season for Arsenal in open play and 2 goals from penalties. That means if you take away the penalties, he has only scored 2 goals for Arsenal. However, on the flip side of it, Alexander Lacazette has created 7 assists, more than any other player at Arsenal. So that means there is no he's created 7 assists. Saka is the second with 5, Odegaard with 3, Martinelli with 3, and Emile Smith-Rowe with 2. So that shows you that he's really important in our build-up. He's really important in our hold-up and build-up. But when it comes to finishing, he is not the striker that Arsenal would wish to have. So let's start off with Brighton. How are they performing and how could they line up? What is the team news around the team? Now, Brighton under Graham Potter, they started very well this season. And I think in the first 10 games, they were among the top 4. They were winning games. And I remember by the time we were absolutely awful, we went to, we visited them at the sea. And we literally came back. I think we were lucky. We were lucky to pick up a point there from the sea. 0-0 was the final score. And the reason as to why Brighton actually didn't win that game, they created the chances and they didn't finish them off. I think I said it in January when I was saying one player each team should sign. I said Brighton just need to get a striker. The problem is converting the chances they score. So how could they line up today? Tomorrow against Arsenal. Of course, you expect Sanchez to be in goal. Left back, Cucurella, Terry Lamptey at right back, Veltman and Dunk are expected to be starting for them. Bissouma, Grob, Mwepu. I think, look, you could have McAllister. You could have Mwepu. It will depend on what Graham Potter wants. Then Neil Maupay, Trossard, and Danny Welbeck. Brighton this season, I think it's one of those seasons where they can't believe what the heaven or what the hell is going on at their club. They can't believe, I think the right word to say, the right phrase is what the hell is going on at Brighton. They started so well to an extent that I think in the first 10 fixtures, they had not lost a game. Right now, in their last 12 competitive games, Brighton have only won one. They have only won one game in their last 12 competitive games. You can't believe that, right? You absolutely can't believe that. But it's true. They've only won one game. In their last 5 games in the Premier League, they have lost 4 and drawn 1. And that draw came at home against a very poor side, Norwich City. This is how they've been performing. They lost 2-0 to Tottenham Hotspur. They lost 2-0 to Liverpool. They lost 2-1 to Newcastle. They lost 2-0 to Villa. They lost 3-0 to Burnley. And what is interesting here is, listen, they lost 3-0 at home to Burnley. They lost 2-0 at home to Brighton, to Newcastle. Then they lost 2-0 at home to Tottenham Hotspur. And then a 0-0 with Norwich. And of course, a couple of other games. They lost to Manchester United 2-0. They lost to Tottenham Hotspur in the fourth round of the FA Cup 3-1. 1-1 with Leicester, 1-1 with Crystal Palace, 1-1 with Chelsea. But my point here is Brighton have their weakness, and their weakness is our strength. Their weakness is that they literally do not score goals. They create the chances. They're very good players in there. I think Bissouma, Mwepu, Neil Maupay, Trossard. Those are very, very good players. And the chances always come. And when you consider the availability of players like Cucurella and Tariq Lamptey, the chances are always there. But they never take them. They absolutely never take them. If you look at their last 5 games, 0-0 against Norwich. Then they lost to Tottenham, 2-0. Then they lost to Aston Villa, 2-0 as well. Then they lost to Burnley, 3-0. 2-1 against Crystal Palace. In their last 5 games, they have only managed to score 1 goal. Actually, in their last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In their last 8 games, they have only scored once. Right? They've only scored once. And that was in a loss against Newcastle. So Arsenal, what we need to do, make sure that just make sure that we have the ball and they do not score. Right? And they concede. That defense of theirs really concedes, because if you look at Graham Potter, he's a messiah at Brighton, but then he's a disciple of very, very open football. He doesn't play conservative football. Arsenal on the other side, I think this is a game where we will need everything on the table. We will need to put everything on the table. Partey is out. Tierney is out. Tomiyasu is out. Those are 3 very, very key players when it comes to our defensive part of the game that we've lost to injury. And then Thomas Partey. Yesterday we were talking about Partey and how much he contributes to Arsenal's ability to go forward, and also our ability to defend. When Partey is on the pitch, we pick up 2 points per 90. When he's not on the pitch, we pick up 1.2 points per 90. That is scary. When Partey is on the pitch, we concede less goals than we concede when he's away. We score more goals when Partey is on the pitch than we score when he's away. So how should we line up? In my opinion, I think this is time for Arsenal not to panic. We don't have to panic. Right? It's difficult, it is hard, it's scary, but we don't have to panic. This is the lineup I've gone for. I've gone with the back 4 still, where I've said Xhaka goes to left back. At right back, honestly, it could be Tomiyasu, but Tomiyasu is now out, so it should be Cedric at right back. Gabriel and Ben White and Gabriel should stay at the end of at the heart of the defense, but this time they need to act better. They need to do more. I think that performance against Crystal Palace was absolutely pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. They need to come back to the standards where we know them. Of course, they have set the bar too high, and that is where we're going to always judge them. We will never judge Ben White and Gabriel at at the level of Harry Maguire. We will never, because they have set the bar too high. So they need to come back to their form. So I've gone with Xhaka at left back. Nuno Tavares, I'm still skeptical. Right, I'm still very skeptical. At the beginning of the season, he had a very, very good start, but right now, without Thomas Partey, our midfield is going to be as soft as hot butter. Right. So, and look, hot butter, you don't need a hot knife to get through it easily. So I think Xhaka, a left back. Then in that midfield pivot, Lokonga comes in. That is my opinion. Lokonga comes in that midfield pivot, joined by Martin Odegaard. We've seen it with Odegaard. He's a game controller, and I think with Mikel Arteta, that is one of the aspects he's trying to teach his side. Can we control games? Can we be on top of them? Can we be all over them? Odegaard has that ability. Those short passes that help you maintain possession, and then those long, wise passes, key passes. He's got to do that, and I think he can do that very well in that deeper position, which would call a box to box. I would have played Emile Smith-Rowe there, but I don't think Emile Smith-Rowe is comfortable with short passes and maintain possession. He loves getting the ball, running at defenders, stretching the pitch. That is what he loves. That is what he does. So I've gone with that Emile Smith-Rowe then as our number 10. Obviously, in that kind of free role where he can get into the box multiple times, because he loves that. Get into the box and collect those rebounds, like he scored against Leicester City. So I've gone for him as my number 10. Lacazette remains as number 9. Martinelli and Bukayo Saka. Lads, if you're gonna be honest, this is a game that is not easy, especially emotionally and psychologically for Arsenal. One, we are under pressure from a burning Tottenham side, right? And this is because this top 4 race is actually going to affect us so much in how we play. Tottenham are coming up. They're building lots of fire. They have easier games than us until the end of the season, and we have to play Brighton and Southampton. There we will play Chelsea and Manchester United. From then we'll play Tottenham. So it's a very, very complicated game, right? In terms of our emotions, in terms of the psychology around it. It might be easy on paper because Brighton are really doing poorly and we just need to bounce back. But what makes it hard is the psychology, the emotions around it, the pressure from Tottenham, the fear of losing top 4, and the fact that if we lose this game, if we don't get maximum points out of this game, then Spurs will start protruding out of sight. That is what is going to make this game very, very hard. But I'm going to back the boys. I'm going to back the boys 100%. I think Brighton, however much, Graham Potter is a good manager, I think they've lost so many games and they're still comfortable. They're sitting 13th on the table, despite the fact that in their last 12 games, let's say 10 games, they've won 1, and I think drawn 1. Not drawn 1. I think drawn 3, right, and won 1. So in their last 5, 4 losses, 1 draw, and that is against Norwich. It shows you that they're reaping from the benefits of starting a season very well. Honestly, if they had not started it very well, they would be in a relegation battle. And I will not be very surprised if they continue doing as poorly as they are doing and they're never mentioned in a relegation battle, because all they need to do right now is just pick up a few points so that it doesn't go too ugly. Right now, if you look at them, they have 34 points on the table. 2 points behind Aston Villa and Southampton, right? 3 points behind Leicester and Crystal Palace. So they are only 3 points away from position 9, where Crystal Palace are sitting. And if you look at all the teams above them, that is Aston Villa and Southampton, then Leicester and Crystal Palace, they're not doing well. None of them is having a very, very good run of games. So I think Brighton come into this game with very, very low morale. They have nothing to play for, you might think, but I think they have something to play for. But Arsenal have a bigger reason. Arsenal have a better reason to play for. And I will go Arsenal 3, Brighton 1. I think they'll score. I think the fact that we don't have Thomas Partey will affect us defensive-wise. But because they're so porous, I think we will cut through them like a hot knife, through butter. Arsenal 3, Brighton 1. I hope the lads don't disappoint. Subscribe, and I'm coming with a transfer update in 1 hour, 1 hour's time from now. Make sure you don't miss that.